teens, never growing up. I'll take with me the Polaroids and the memories, but you know I'm gonna leave behind the worst of us. Who's gonna walk you through the dark side of the morning? Who's gonna rock you when the sun won't let you sleep? Who's waking up to drive you home when you're drunk and all alone? Who's gonna walk you through the dark side of the morning? It ain't me. No, no. It ain't me. No, no. It ain't me. No, no. Who's gonna walk you through the dark side of the morning? It ain't me. The Bowery, whiskey neat, grateful. I'm so grateful. It ain't me. The Bowery, whiskey neat, grateful. I'm so grateful. It ain't me. It ain't me.
Bueno, pues empezamos una tarde más o un día más con las sesiones online de la SOST-CDTI. Como llevamos en estas sesiones fuera después del verano, las hemos centrado sobre todo en aquellas iniciativas paralelas a Horizon 2020 y en concreto a todos los clústeres del Pilar 2 y en este caso pues a los partenariados. En concreto, hoy abordamos un partenariado, el Made in Europe, y para ello pues tendremos con nosotros la presencia de mi compañera Nieves González, a la que conocéis como punto nacional de contacto para temas de fabricación avanzada y que en otras ocasiones ya nos ha acompañado. Hola Nieves. También tendremos con nosotros la presencia de Andrea Ceglia. Andrea Ceglia es Officer en DG RTD en la unidad F3 de Sustainable Industry Systems y es que nos va a desvelar un poco los objetivos y las líneas principales de este partenariado coprogramado que empezará en la primera convocatoria de Horizon Europe en 2021, hace ya el mes de abril. Como sabéis, y mi compañero Santi ya os viene anunciando en todas estas sesiones, para participar podéis ir mandando vuestras preguntas, vuestros comentarios a través de la herramienta Slide, que podéis acceder a través de cualquier dispositivo móvil y el ordenador, tablet, teléfono, con el código SOST-DIFUNDE. Entonces, a lo largo de la presentación, tanto de Nieves como de Andrea, pues podéis hacer vuestras preguntas y al final pues pasaremos a un turno de questions and answers para nuestros dos invitados de hoy. Sin más, quería pasar la palabra a Nieves y solo recordaros, por si después acabamos muy rápido, que la próxima sesión de estas cápsulas online de la SOS está prevista para el martes 15 de diciembre sobre un tema apasionante para nosotros que es el agua. Entonces, allí trataremos la Partnership Water for All. Y sin más, doy la palabra a mi compañera Nieves. Gracias, Nieves.
Gracias, Marina. Bueno, lo primero, gracias por la invitación a participar en esta sesión y gracias por organizar a ti y a todo el equipo SOST por organizar estas sesiones que creo que están siendo de gran interés para ir conociendo más cosas sobre el nuevo programa Horizonte Europa y conocerlas directamente desde la comisión. Así que creo que está siendo realmente útil. Bueno, yo voy a comentar muy poquito porque creo que Andrea sé que nos va a contar todo en detalle. Así que simplemente, bueno, comentar el tema de fabricación avanzada es de un interés enorme en este momento y para desde el punto de vista de nuestro país. Estamos además en un momento que tenemos unos grandes desafíos por delante, como es conseguir que la industria consiga llevar a cabo esta revolución digital en la que está inmersa y conseguir además lograr tener unos modos de fabricación mucho más sostenibles en la línea del Pacto Verde Europeo, con lo cual son unos desafíos muy importantes, un momento sin duda importante el que vivimos. Después de la crisis del COVID, además, hemos visto muy claramente cuál es la importancia de la industria, ¿no? de tener nuestras cadenas de valor fuertes, de no depender tanto de terceros países, así que está más clara que nunca cuál es la importancia de nuestra industria. Así que bueno, en este contexto, pues normal que estemos deseosos de saber mucho más sobre el nuevo partenariado Made in Europe. La mayoría sabéis ya que Made in Europe es un partnership nuevo, un partenariado nuevo, pero no tan nuevo porque continúa con el que había anteriormente en Horizonte 2020, que se llamaba Factories of the Future. Y bueno, simplemente comentar desde el punto de vista español que ha sido un partenariado con un gran éxito, tanto de participación, resultados, hemos sido los países con mejores posiciones en los resultados, número 3, número 2, incluso el último año hemos sido el país con mejor resultado. Y esto yo creo que habla de la excelencia de nuestras empresas y de nuestros centros tecnológicos y universidades en el área de manufacturing y también de nuestra capacidad de liderazgo, porque muchos de estos proyectos están coordinados por entidades españolas. Así que bueno, dicho esto, simplemente pues me quedaría decir dos cosas. Lo primero, bienvenido y gracias, Andrea, por dedicarnos este tiempo. Y espero que nos podamos conocer pronto en persona y volver a Bruselas y tener unos eventos de los de antes. Y lo segundo, a la comunidad de manufacturing, de fabricación española, pues felicidades por estos estupendos resultados en Factories of the Future y no me cabe duda de que Made in Europe va a continuar este éxito. Para eso tenemos que ponernos ya a trabajar, ponernos las pilas, ponernos a saber cuáles son las novedades, conocer bien este nuevo Made in Europe. Y para esto todo lo que podamos hacer para ayudaros, cualquier consulta, cualquier comentario, pues ya sabéis que en CDTI y los puntos nacionales de contacto estamos a vuestra disposición.
Pues nada, Andrea, ya puedes, si quieres, ya puedes compartir tu pantalla. Gracias.
Okay, muchas gracias. I'm going to speak in English, so I'm sorry
Sure.
if I am disappointing someone. Let's share the screen. Are you seeing my screen? Yes?
Yes, yes, we can see it.
Perfect. Okay. Well, first of all, let me thank you again for inviting me for this interesting discussion. I'm going to present, as Nieves and Marina already mentioned, the European Partnership Made in Europe. But please allow me to say that this is still, at this stage, a proposal for a partnership because, as you all know, probably the MFF has not been agreed yet, and therefore everything is pending the decision on the MFF. In principle, this is quite safe in terms of partnership, but anything can happen from here to the end of the year. So let's see.
Yes.
Anyway, I will give you a short introduction of what is Horizon Europe, just very brief, to allow you to understand where Made in Europe is sitting in the structure of Made in Europe, and sorry, Horizon Europe. And then I will give you some words about the cluster 4, which is the one on digital industry and space. And finally, we'll go more in detail about Made in Europe, how this structure, what is the aim, and what kind of actions we are foreseeing for that. So Horizon Europe, you might know, this is the next innovation framework program. It will run 7 years, like the predecessor, Horizon 2020. The objectives of Horizon Europe are threefold. First of all, we want to strengthen the European research area. We want to boost innovation capacity, competitiveness, and create new jobs in Europe. And of course, Horizon Europe has to deliver on citizen priorities, which are the Green Deal, which are a society that takes the humans at its core, and all innovations have to take care of the human aspects and ethical values of Europe. It is very interesting to see that we have a bigger budget compared to H2020. In H2020, we had 70 billion euros in 7 years. The current budget for Horizon Europe is 95 billion. Of course, as I said before, we have to see what is the end of the discussion on MFF. MFF, for who doesn't know, is the multi-annual financial framework, where basically the member states decide of the next budget of the European Commission. So Horizon Europe follows the three-pillar structure of H2020. We will have Pillar 1 on excellent science, Pillar 2 on industrial competitiveness, and Pillar 3 on innovative Europe. When we are talking about Made in Europe, manufacturing, therefore, we are positioned in Cluster 4 of Pillar 2, the one on digital, industry, and space. Of course, all the three pillars and all the clusters within Pillar 2 are strongly interlinked. For example, we have strong connections with the Cluster 5 on climate, energy, and mobility, but also the one on health on Cluster 1. And across pillars, of course, European Co-Innovation Council is very important for the uptake of research results run by Cluster 4. The Horizon Europe is one of the many instruments that the Commission has to deliver on its priorities. Of course, it's not the only one. Therefore, it has to build synergies with other instruments. Here you can see examples, but very prominent for Made in Europe are, for example, Digital Europe program, where the digital actions, the digital agenda would be rolled out. There would be, for example, the development of the data spaces, one of them being the manufacturing European data space, for which we expect all projects funded under Made in Europe will contribute in terms of data, but also in terms of the way data is structured and organized, and of course also collected. But there are other important programs like the Regional Development Funds or the Innovation Fund, InvestEU, that are very important for manufacturing. So the synergies will be created in two ways. First of all, in terms of compatibility, harmonizing the funding rules among different programs, and also in terms of coherence and complementarity, aligning basically strategic priorities of the different programs. And Made in Europe is no exception. The objectives of the partnership will have to align with the European Commission priorities, which are the overarching strategic priorities for all programs the Commission is putting in place. So as I said before, Made in Europe will sit in Cluster 4. And here is a table summarizing the strategic orientation of the cluster and also the expected impact. I'm not going to read them in detail, it's just for sharing this with you once you will get the slides. But however, you can see that the strategic orientation of the cluster are threefold. We have the circular, climate neutral, and sustainable economy that has to be sustained with the help of the digital technologies. Therefore, here it's really encompassing the twin digital and green transition. We have the promotion of open strategic autonomy. Here we have the aspects of sovereignty in terms of technologies, supply chains, but also the fact that we want to keep an open continent in terms of trade and exchanges at all levels, from R&I to market. And of course, also the third one is the idea of creating a more resilient and inclusive and democratic society. And that is where the ethical values and the human-centric approach of technology development comes in. We are sure that this is one of a lighthouse for research and innovation as well, because ethical values have to be taken into account already at technology development. The digital industry and space cluster, therefore, has a quite clear vision. We want to support the development of competitive technologies while respecting the boundaries of our planet and reflecting human needs. In this short sentence, we summarize the 3 key strategic orientation. Basically, here we are speaking about technologies, both green and digital, meaning technologies that are enabling the digital transition of companies and society as a whole, but also keeping in mind the important planetary boundaries in terms of resources that we have and that we can use for the sustainable development of our economy. And at the same time, we have to keep the human at the center of all our policies. And therefore, industry is our core business, but we always have to include European social and ethical values. In the cluster, we have 10 partnerships, 6 co-program partnerships, and one of them being made in Europe. Co-program partnerships are partnerships where one of the partner, of course, is the European Commission, and the other partner is the industrial private association. In the case of Made in Europe, is the association representing manufacturing industry, but then we have processes for planet, clean steel, photonics, AI, data, robotics, and global competitive space systems, which are targeting different industries: process industries, steel industry, photonics industry, and of course, the robotics and data and AI is a large community encompassing a lot of RTOs and academics, but also many startups and innovative companies. And of course, in the case of the space systems, we are speaking about the development of an EU capacity in terms of the use of space and access to space data. And then we have also institutional partnerships, the one on metrology. There is an horizontal partnership serving both technologies, both digital and more sustainable technologies, with metrology methodologies. And then we have the 3 institutional digital partnerships: the key digital technologies, smart networks and services, and high performance computing, which are also horizontal, and member states are coming in those. Made in Europe has the role of taking care of the manufacturing industry, but it has to build strong synergies with many of those partnerships within this cluster, but also beyond cluster 4, in order to deliver on its objectives. As it was already mentioned, Made in Europe doesn't come from nowhere. Before, in Horizon 2020, we had an important and successful partnership with the same partner, the association EFRA, European Factories of the Future Research Association, which, as I said, represents the manufacturing industry. With them, we ran the Factory of the Future program. It was very good. We ran more than 180 projects in Horizon 2020. We invest about 1.1 billion euros in industrial technologies. So we think this was a good example, and it should have been continued in Horizon Europe. Since I'm talking to you, I prepared also a few statistics about the representation of Spanish participants in Factory of the Future. You should know that it was quite successful. I think actually the most successful country in terms of number of projects. There are at least one Spanish beneficiary in 138 projects out of 181, and these numbers are coming from the latest database available. I might miss a few projects found in the last call. There are 232 beneficiaries in total, for a total of 168 million euros of EU contribution. In terms of beneficiaries, of course, there are some that are more successful than others, also because of their role in the research and innovation landscape. We are speaking about Tecnalia, IMEN, IDECO, and Innovalia that count for several projects. You see between 13 and 26 projects each. Very, very good. But this is, I mean, having a successful predecessor is not sufficient to justify the existence of a new partnership. So why do we want to have another partnership on manufacturing? Well, as you might know, the first reason is the manufacturing landscape is made of a lot of enterprises. We are speaking about 2 million companies in Europe working in the manufacturing sector, of which 99.2% are SMEs, which lack in most cases the capacities and the resources to make R&I actions that are then delivering innovation in Europe. And we're also speaking about a lot of people working in this sector, 28.5 million people in EU 27. So there is a lot of stake here, and it's very important to keep investing in this. On top of that, the economic global trends are well, didn't really change too much from when H2020 was launched. The GDP share of manufacturing has not reached pre-2008 levels. It has constantly dropped in the last 25 years. And after the crisis of 2008, we didn't manage to recover fully. And the new COVID-19 pandemics that you know is hitting hard the whole world, but EU in particular, in our case, well, this didn't help since the production dropped further in the last 12 months. So on top of that, we have also the global competition that is very fierce. In China, they have run successfully so far Made in China 2025, which is a very important public-private partnership with the aim of making China the global leader, not only in production, where they already are the biggest manufacturer of the world, but also in terms of industrial technologies. They want to develop their own capacity. And on top of that, there is also a US, which is running manufacturing USA. And so we are not alone in this race. We have to have also our partnership with the industrial sector. On top of that, we have also the technology sovereignty aspect, which is has been very clearly underlined by the recent crisis. We have seen with the medical equipment lack of production in Europe that has been very important at the beginning of the pandemics. Because of the disruption of supply chains, we weren't able to deliver masks, for example, or ventilators to hospitals and the workers in the health sector. So to have a technology dependence on strategic key value chains sometimes can be a problem. Of course, we will keep our openness towards other countries and other continents, of course. But on the other hand, we also have to make sure that we are more resilient than in the past. And then we have the societal challenges that we all know, the megatrends in terms of aging workforce. We are going towards an older society, and we will have less and less workers in the future. We also have important shortage of skills, especially when we are speaking about digital skills. There was a recent survey of the Eurobarometer that showed that a lot of people in Europe do not have the necessary skills in terms of digitalization. So, and also that this is already creating a lot of problems in terms of hiring for companies to hire people with the necessary skills to run machineries that require those skills more and more. And then we also have the urbanization trends. The cities are getting bigger, people are taking more time to commute, and this is also reducing the quality of life of all of us. And the air quality is also dropping because of that, because of traffic jams and so on. So we will have to develop technologies and also new strategies to think of manufacturing. Manufacturing maybe can be done within the city. So we are speaking about urban manufacturing here. And to do that, we need clean technologies that do not increase pollution in the city. But COVID, on this sense, also created a lot of opportunities for us. We are doing this kind of event now remotely. Maybe in the past we would have traveled all together, either to Brussels or maybe to Madrid. And this is so there are opportunities coming from this. We were forced to move to digital, to the digital world. So this can also be important when we are speaking about urbanization trends. So what is the vision of Made in Europe? By 2030, Made in Europe would like to have a strong manufacturing industry in Europe with a global leadership in terms of competitiveness, productivity, and technology, industrial technologies. The goal is to increase the number of jobs, but also their attractiveness. So the skills required to this job will be higher, but the jobs will be more rewarding. And at the same time, we want to secure the sustainability of our industry in all three pillars of environment, economy, and social, because the society is also very important in this development. So to do that, Made in Europe has 4 main objectives, which are strongly aligned with the European Commission policies. The first one is ensuring European leadership and manufacturing excellence. The second one is achieving circular and climate neutral manufacturing. The third one is mastering the digital transformation. And finally, we have creating attractive and value-added jobs. As you see, these are very strongly aligned with the European industrial strategy, which, by the way, will be revised because of the pandemics in the beginning of next year. Then we have the Green Deal priority, the Europe fit to the digital age, and economy that works for people. On top of that, we have the overarching aspect of the recovery after the crisis of COVID. So the recovery plan for Europe with the Next Generation EU, which has in itself also many aspects linked to manufacturing. To deliver on those objectives, we have came up with some operational objectives. This is not an exhaustive list, but it's just to give you a flavor of what the partnership will do. First of all, the really foundational one is to develop technologies, key technologies that are enabling the green and digital transition. And the technologies, you can see them in the box in blue. These are the typical technologies that we already been working on in H2020, such as mechatronics, autonomous handling, and robotics. Green technologies such as demanufacturing, recycling technologies, life cycle analysis, but also simulation and modeling. So the digital transition is really important here to enable our complete rethinking of the production process, thanks to digital twins, for example. Real-time communications to enable fast communications between different machineries and software. And of course, also AI, data analytics, enabling data management, predictive maintenance, and zero-defect manufacturing, and so on. Of course, the partnership goes beyond R&I actions such as project implementation. It also has to support the technology uptake in all EU regions. So this can be done by making events, building communities, and so on. The partnership has to deliver on new circular business models, demonstrate them, and try to make them applied throughout the industry. Then they will have to develop strategies and provide solutions to address this shortage of skills, making new trainings for upskilling of workers, for example, or platforms for workers where they can apply for trainings. Then we have to demonstrate new types of jobs and create new jobs in the industry. Of course, standardization is one other aspect that is very important, and a partnership can have a role of coordinating projects delivering on standardization activities, but also being the interface between projects, the research community, the industrial communities, and the institutions delivering on standardization, such as the ISO at international level or the CEN-CENELEC at European level. And of course, the partnership will have to build links and synergies with other programs, national and regional initiatives. These are also a very important aspect. So when we speak of what type of actions we can see in Horizon Europe, so really about project implementation, well, these are the typical actions that we have seen already in 2020 and will continue to exist in Horizon Europe. These are research and innovation actions that are looking at creating new knowledge and new technologies and demonstrating their feasibility at technical level. So we're speaking of TRL, technology readiness level, between 4 and 6. Then there are innovation actions with a higher TRL, reaching TRL 7. And there we would like to see the technologies applied in operational environment, so in the real shop floor sometimes. And of course, there are also coordinated support actions with the aim of delivering on community building, dissemination and exploitations of projects, synergies between projects, road mapping, outreach, and of course, sometimes we use them for getting feedback for our policies to fine-tune future work programs or other actions at the European level. So I won't present the work program because this has not been finalized and we cannot share it at this stage. However, member states already have seen the first drafts of the work program 2021-22, sorry. But of course, we will look at, there will be topics on robotics and AI, for example. There will be a topic probably on zero defect manufacturing. There might be some topics on complex products and functional surfaces. We have maybe something else on photonics innovation for manufacturing and so on. So there are the typical topics that we've been developing in H2020 will be further strengthened and brought up to higher TRL in Horizon Europe. So when we talk about collaboration and synergies for Made in Europe, we think of, first of all, other partnerships within the same cluster. So as I mentioned before, photonics-based technologies, laser-based technologies are really key technologies for manufacturing. If you think about laser welding or laser cutting, surface treatments based on photonics technologies, but also all the sensing and I mean photonics is applied in several aspects of manufacturing. AI, big data, robotics also is self-explanatory. The importance for Made in Europe. Processes for planets. Also there can be strong synergies between the two types of industry, process industries and manufacturing industry, and therefore links can be built. Key digital technologies similar to photonics are very important. For those partnerships, we can even think of joint calls in the future or joint events, dissemination events that can build stronger communities and can enable spillover effects of research and innovation outputs. But there are other partnerships within the cluster and also beyond the cluster. For example, if you think of innovative health, personal and medicine in cluster 1, or clean aviation 2.0, which is targeting connected cars, or batteries, because also there is the need of building manufacturing capacity in Europe. So there are several other activities in cluster 5, in cluster 6 that can be of interest for the manufacturing industry. With other programs, the first one is Digital Europe program. I already mentioned the data spaces, but there are also seminal ideas for the moment of the test and experimentation facilities for manufacturing in Digital Europe program. There will be also actions on digital skills that can be very relevant for manufacturing. So it's an important program to look at. The EIC, the European Innovation Council, is also a key program for synergies, because there are some instruments such as the accelerator instrument, which is targeting higher TRL actions, smaller consortia that can come out of previous research projects in Horizon 2020, for example, Horizon Europe, and can help startups or SMEs or even larger companies to have additional funding to bring their innovation to the market. Of course, having participated to Horizon Europe is not a prerequisite, but can be an added value. EIT communities are also important. Of course, the one on manufacturing, but also digital, raw materials, and urban mobility can be references for the partnership in Europe. And InvestEU, similar to the EIC, can provide additional funding to companies and SMEs to bring to market their innovation. And then there is the synergy that are needed to be built with national and regional initiatives, and national initiatives on Industry 4.0, for example, Industria Conectada 4.0 in Spain, for example, or Fabbrica Intelligente in Italy, Industry 4.0 in Germany, and so on. But also at regional level. The S3P, so the smart specialization platforms on industrial modernization, such as Vanguard, can also provide an interlocutor for Made in Europe to align regional and European fundings and strategic orientation. So to build on top of our programs rather than duplicate efforts, and make sure that we are getting the best out of all initiatives. At the national level, of course, I want to spend a couple of words on the Next Generation EU. You know that this is a massive investments opportunity for member states. We are speaking about 750 billion euros in the next 3 years. Of course, this is all pending the MFF, as I said at the beginning of this presentation. But okay, given a small percentage for top up of programs, including Horizon Europe and the establishment of REACT-EU, there is the biggest part, which is the recovery and the CS facility. The RRF is more than 670 billion euros. Part of it will be given in grants and part in loans to member states in order to ensure a quick recovery from the COVID crisis. So for this reason, since it's linked to the recovery and to the crisis, the investment will be done in the first 3 years between 21 and 23, and the payments are allowed by 2026. So also the project should be not very long, because if you are considering it can be maximum 2-3 years when something is funded in 2023. Now, you know, there is time until the beginning or the first quarter of 2021. I think we are speaking about the 15th of April as a deadline for the member states to deliver, to submit their final version of the RRF plans. These plans should, I mean, they have to be aligned with the European policies, of course, and one of the 4 objectives of the RRF, if you have seen the guidance for the member states to compile those plans, one of the objectives should be the support between green and digital transition. So as you see, this is one of the flagships of Made in Europe as well. And indeed, the investments that the member states should target at should cover at least with 37% of total investments in climate and at least 20% on the digital transition. Member states have several possibilities for spending this money, such as tax incentive, vouchers, loans, grants, and so on. So with the final slide, I want to tell you, in fact, that you can also spend this money for manufacturing activities and to build synergies with Made in Europe. So the top the top priority could be, for example, to strengthen your R&I spending with additional fundings to your agendas. In particular, of course, those related to Made in Europe. In this case, I'm thinking about Industria Conectada. But also, you can foresee R&D tax incentives for companies, maybe with a higher share for SMEs, for example, because also we need in Europe in general to increase the private investment in R&I. You can also foresee actions to give vouchers to SMEs to support the transition to Industry 4.0. For example, for the first time of use of digital technologies or robotics automations in their production floor. You can look at circular economy with support to green technologies, or invest in infrastructure and technologies to increase the resilience of the industry, maybe to bring back production in Spain to avoid delocalization or further delocalization, and so on. And finally, we can also you can also spend this money for launching programs for training workers, vocational training, but also upskilling and reskilling of the current workforce. So with this, I close my presentation, and I thank you for your attention.
Okay, Andrea, thank you so much for your presentation and the landscape of the different, let's say, options that we can find not only in the next calls of Horizon Europe linked to this partnership, but also in other European programs that for sure they have synergies with different aspects of this partnership, not only research and development, but further and other things which are around. I don't know if you have any question, Nieves, by the way, but in the meanwhile, what we will do is to check the Slido tool in order to see several questions and comments that come around from the audience. So if it's possible to show it, thank you so much. Yes, we have it right now. Yes, so you see. The first is quite related with what you have you have already explained. No, that of course, as it is a co-program partnership, the topics and call related to this partnership will appear through the cluster for calls in 2021-2022. But not limited to that in principle, is what we have understood. And what they are asking if these topics will be mainly innovation actions, that means demonstration, for instance?
No, I mean, of course there will be several innovation actions, but in the current version of the draft work program, we have more or less half-half. I cannot give you the number. I think maybe we have one research innovation action actually more than innovation actions. So there will be both aspects. Research is still an important aspect of industrial technology, so this will not be forgotten.
Okay. And then
if you have a more specific question on specific technologies, maybe we can be more precise.
No, this is really interesting. So the second question is related with that as well, because as it looks like very applied, then can we expect bigger projects or small project or more small projects focused in specific technologies, or half? What could look like the first calls of this partnership?
Thanks a lot. This is a great question. In fact, Horizon Europe will look at bigger projects compared to H2020. So yes, we want to increase the size of the average project. In certain things, probably there would be still some smaller projects, but on average, yes, they will be bigger than in Horizon 2020. Therefore, even our research and innovation actions, we will have a larger budget in principle per project. But also the specificity of the topics will be a bit broader. So we will not target specific, or will limit the calls on specific technologies as much as possible, unless it's deemed necessary. But on most of the cases, we will leave a blank sheet for the proposers to come up with technologies that deliver on the expected impact. So we will have expected outcomes of the topics and the scope definition of the topic, and then there will be sometimes lists of technologies that can be or should be looked at when developing the proposals, but never, I mean, almost never, there would be an exhaustive list of technologies. So if proposers come up with another technology that will deliver, and they have, they can sustain their proposals and say that they will deliver on the topics outcome, then this is still allowed.
Okay, super. Then there are two questions related with these synergies with other European funds. And they are quite related with regions, because as far as I understood, or we have understood, the one of the positive points is to be able to link the actions that the Commission is going to fund under this partnership with other funds that will enlarge the impact, or let's say the takeaways of this project. So how you see the alignment of these projects, or the positive evaluation of these projects when, if they are connected with, for instance, structural funds or the strategic of the regions, or whatever, is this going to be taken into account, for instance, in the evaluations or in the considerations of the projects, or how do you see it?
Well, in general, all projects will be invited to present ways in which they will build on any kind of initiative at national, regional level, but also with other European programs. So, for example, how they will deliver data for the data spaces, when I'm thinking about the DG Euro program, but also how they link to digital innovation hubs at regional level or national level. This can be definitely a plus. And in terms of how we will build these synergies, this is a bit more complicated as a question. We are still discussing the governance of Made in Europe, so nothing is certain yet. But there might be some kind of, maybe we will put in place some interactions between regional representatives and the EFRA or the partnership board. There might be this kind of thing, or in any case, regions will be invited to contact the partnership and build their own strategies together with us. And in some cases, there are examples of seeds of excellence that worked very well to unlock regional funds. Although it's a bit more complicated when we're talking about collaborative projects, because of course collaborative project is international, and regional funds, of course, will be spent mostly within the region. So there is a reluctancy of regions to spend money for activities that go beyond their own region. But still, the alignment of strategic research and innovation agendas, this can be done in different ways, with the smart specialization, or with regional activities such as the Vanguard initiative, which takes up many regions, also Spanish regions in the Basque countries, for example. So these are also all options, and there it's also up to the region how to structure themselves in a way that can create an interface towards the Made in Europe partnership, and then align their strategies.
Okay, good to know. So these two questions, the question from Aitor and the other on the structural funds, they will be more or less answered. This is also some point that has appeared. The next question is that at the end, the people that has to work in the factories and so are workers, and you have to make them aware and trained on the new technologies or in the new ways of organized production. And so do you think that the projects has to be linked somehow with these training activities? How do you see this, for instance, in a project of these characteristics, special actions, special activities, or well, to leave it outside with other programs like, I don't know, vocational programs or whatever?
Well, again, this is up to the proposals to come up with a very good, with a convincing strategy for taking care of the training aspect. There might be the necessity within the project itself to develop examples of training, and this could be, in some cases, there will be actions foreseen in Horizon Europe. So the proposals can come up with trainings themselves. And social innovation is always included in the topics text. Also social sciences will have a role in the projects. But of course, they can also create synergies with other programs and use the consortia. They can use the other programs to leverage additional funding, basically, for training and cover those actions outside the budget of the proposal.
Okay, super. This is connected with the fact that several weeks ago we had a presentation on one of the colleagues from DG RTD explaining how it's going to change, for instance, the evaluation procedure and what is going to be much more highlighted. And in the dissemination and exploitation plan, they commented, your colleagues commented, that actions like the ones that you are highlighted, this training, this transfer not only to the research or to the high industry but to the people is important to take into account. And the other question is related that you have commented a lot to test things, but this test, it has to be done on top of somewhere. So I mean, these applications are going to be much more open to different sectors. There will be strategic sectors targeted for that. How do you see this?
Yes, so we will avoid specific sectors. We will probably never mention a specific sector. In most of the cases, we are going to ask for more use cases per project, 2-3 use cases, and this can come from different industries. So automotive industries, the questions mentions, is one possible example. Can be nautical sector, can be food processing or packaging, textile industry. So the types of use cases can be anything within the manufacturing industry, let's say manufacturing sector. So yes, we will be sector agnostic as a.
It's good to know. It's good to know. So the good thing is to bring with all the chain, and if it is well, let's say, configured, any sector is valid, let's say.
As long as they deliver, the project deliver on the outcome expected, the sector itself can be chosen by the proposals. But of course, when we ask for 3 use cases, they shouldn't come up with 3 use cases from the same specific sector. Okay.
So see the scalability of the solution to different sectors. That means. Thanks. And the calls are expected by. They say here, the last question is fall 2021, April 2021. Where are you expecting?
That's a nice question. So now, what I can say on this? Well, we're facing problems with the approval of the MFF.
Yes.
So as long as we do like that, it's difficult to give you a specific date. We hope that everything will be sorted out soon, and our current schedule brings us to, let's say, the publication in mid-April.
Okay, after
so the publication of the call mid-April, and then hopefully we can launch the evaluation relatively soon. By fall, indeed, we have the evaluation done. But this is all speculation at the moment.
Okay, yeah, I can understand. And very last question, which I think that is from any of our colleagues from Madrid, which are also looking at us. You have a comment on the connection with other clusters, which is really something amazing. Other clusters which are much more sectorial, that are the application clusters of that. Do you think that this is going to be produced at level of voluntary basis of the participants regarding the topics, or is something that is going to be top-down connected from the program committees, or is going to be something open, really, like?
Well, it will be open, of course, but what we will try to do first of all is to create a strong connection between partnerships and between initiatives across clusters. And therefore, when, for example, I'm thinking of Made in Europe, if Made in Europe will create an event, well, there they will also advertise all possible codes that are related to manufacturing. If, for example, in the batteries partnership, they will have codes on the manufacturing capacity. They will also advertise those kind of codes in order to create synergies and to make the manufacturing community aware of what's happening in other clusters. Of course, then there are also because here in the question I see the committee level. Of course, the program committee they will have a role, but that's a bit more complicated to make because we will have different commissions. So, well, in the case, unless there is a same person representing the member states, most of the times they're different persons.
Yeah.
So in that case, it's more difficult. But the national contact points can also help on creating these synergies because they know the work programs very well. And of course, we will advertise all the possible synergies ourselves as well.
Okay, so thank you so much. So with that, we are going to finish our session. Thank you for your blindness, your sincerity as well, and your easy talk for us. Thanks for all the participants that has joined us until the end of this session. Our objective was to keep it short and to keep it a capsule of information, and I think that we have made it today. I would like also to thank my colleagues from CDTI, Madrid, Nieves, and Lucia from the program committee and from national contact points that had joined us. I would like also to thank my colleagues from the SOST office that has made possible this session as well. And also the participants, because your contributions and your questions and your interest up to the end of this session. We wait for you on 15 December, Tuesday, 15 December, to talk about the partnership on water for all. So without anything else, I would like to emplazaros para el próximo, dentro de 15 días. Muchas gracias, Andrea. Gracias, compañeros. Y nos vemos pronto. Hasta luego.
Hasta luego.